It's me, Manna. I don't really expect anyone to watch this. I've been wanting to go live for a while, and today was kind of a different kind of day for me, so I figured why not? I'm sitting out by the lake, and it's raining, so I'm not gonna go outside. I have thought about it though. I do have an umbrella. It's not lightning, so why not? So at therapy today, I had EMDR therapy, and my therapist and I have been building up to actually doing it, and so we actually did it today. And I kind of wanted to talk about how it made me feel and what I'm thinking about. And she told me to expect to feel maybe tired today or exhausted, to allow myself to have downtime and to not stress myself out. So, I mean, I'm fine with that. But EMDR therapy is eye movement therapy to try to revisit old trauma and get to the root of why it still bothers you or why it affects you, how it affects you, and replace any feelings that are negative with that memory with positive feelings, with calm feelings. So today was a lot of tell me how that tell me how you felt in that moment. What is your body feeling? How are you what are you thinking about? That kind of stuff. So she started with a memory of mine that's disturbed me that I um recently as in, months ago, like I think it was before Christmas. But I was reflecting and I remembered something that happened a few times when I was young that was not right. And when I remembered by myself, I grieved, like I cried. I burst out into tears and I just sobbed. And I went through that. And then I instantly felt shame. I instantly felt uh, hurt by the person that did this to me, kind of doubting myself, as in, did this really happen? And then also something that came in really strong was that I allowed this person around my own children. This person has helped to raise my children, especially like when I was at work, when I was away. This was a person that I trusted my kids with and that I didn't have a doubt about until I remembered this memory, right? So I've been stuck in thinking that I'm a horrible person for allowing my kids around this person. And like what Rita said today, is that the focus of this is to realize that I'm not at fault for not remembering something that traumatized me until it was this late. And that's basically what it is. I have to forgive myself and not feel like I'm to blame for that when I didn't even remember because of the own walls I had in my head built up around this memory. So I went through, okay, so the first part of the EMDR therapy, which I don't know if anyone's going to watch this that's actually participated in it, but it was pretty intense. Like I was able to cry very, like a lot during therapy. I think she really wanted me to break down, and I still, like, I can cry very loudly, and I wasn't feeling safe enough to do that. I worry that people will hear me. Like it's an office in an older building, which is nice because the walls are pretty thick, but still, like it's not like crying at home alone. Like I know people understand that. So she initially she got close to me. She was like, I'm going to get close to you and I'm going to hold up my fingers and I'm just going to move. And I want your eyes to follow my fingers. And I couldn't do it. So I'm going to practice that because it might have been different. But she's like, can you do it? And I'm like, no. Like, she's looking at me, watching me failing, doing it. And then I was just like, I don't know what to do. I tried to take off my glasses, because I can't see up like that close. But, and then she's like, no, we'll just do the tapping method. And I'm like, oh, okay. So what she did is she was still close to me and she, showed me what she was going to do. She was going to tap from my right knee to my left knee, right? Back and forth, like tap, 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 like this. So this is what it was on my knees while she was talking to me. And she wanted me first to think about the feeling I had around this memory. And then as she was tapping, she wanted me to isolate where in my body did I feel this, whatever I was feeling. So I had to say, like, I guess the feeling I felt most was shame. And she wanted to know where that came from. And so I described it. It was kind of like my chest into my stomach, like this pit in my stomach. And then we went through different things like that where if she got me to feel emotion, like the sadness or, going through the thought of it, she was able to use that same emotion to get me to calm down, right? Because she was taking me to places that were scary and then immediately calming me down and showing me that I can calm myself down. And that was nice because I could. And look, I'm tapping myself because I like it. I do. It's soothing. But yeah, so she was doing that and then we would take a break. And then she would ask me, she said on a scale of 1 to 7, how true, like 7 being the truest, do you believe that you're responsible for a potential harm done to your kids by this person? And that was when I couldn't answer it because I still don't feel that. But during the process, she would ask me what I was thinking about, right? And part of it was I have this voice in my head that tells me that I'm not enough and that I'm not good enough, that I'm not worthy, that I'm not deserving of any kind of pardon or sympathy or anything, right? So while she was doing this, she asked me what I was thinking and feeling and things like that. And at one point, I just said, I have this voice that's telling me, yeah, but you knew. Yeah, but it's your fault. Yeah, you should have known. Yeah, you made this promise to yourself when you were a young mom that you were never going to let anybody hurt your kids like that. Like you were hurt, but you did. You potentially did. Like, I don't know that this person ever hurt my kids. And she asked me to, how true do you think it is that this person has hurt your kids? And I said, I can't remember the way she said it. She said, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being true, do you believe that this person did not hurt your kids? I don't know. But I told her, I was like, I can't answer that 100%, so I don't know. Because I still have this voice that says, doubt it. You do know, it's your fault, things like that. So it's interesting. She said that voice is the voice of my mom because I was never good enough for my mom, and that she was always negative to me about building my self-image, and that's what that is. I was never enough for mom. I never told the truth enough for mom. I wasn't reliable for mom. Like all of those things that I think in that voice, that's what that is. And she said that it's hard. It's hard to not think those things when that's how, you were programmed. But overall, right now, I feel pretty good. I was like, I'm going to go get a coffee and sit by the lake and just think about things and not try to stress myself out with stuff I have to do today. Like, I know most people probably have a standing list of things that they do, right? Shit that needs to be done. And my list is huge. So I'm not even going to touch that today. Unless I get this burst of, oh, I'm going to rip up the tacks off the floor that I never did. That kind of shit. Meaningless stuff, fine. But I'm not going to stress myself out. But I guess we'll have another session next week, too. And it was about taking me to that place, the time that things happened, and dealing with how I felt during it. And during it, I didn't feel shame because I honestly thought we were just playing around. Like, I didn't think it was wrong. And so I guess knowing that it was wrong, like, I'm struggling with that because this is somebody that I trusted, that I have trusted my whole life, as a adult figure. And how could they do this? And how could I not say anything to them? And because I don't know if anything else happened that was inappropriate, because I don't know if anything happened even with my own kids, like, I can't just go to them and say, hey, did so-and-so do anything to you? Because that would be ruining their whole image of him if he really didn't do anything to them, Like, I'm not going to do that. My kids aren't around him anymore just because of our family separation going on. But they miss him, like, he's a big part of their life, and it's hard. I don't know what to do with it. And that's what sucks. I don't know what to do with the information that I have. And my sister was with me, and I'm not talking to her. So it's not like I can just call her up and say, hey, do you remember when this happened? Because, and she was 3 years younger than me. She might not even remember. She might not remember. So in me asking her, I could trigger something terrible in her. I'm not even going to do that. Plus, I'm not speaking to her, but still. So I have no way to get answers. And that, I think, has been driving me crazy. It has. And so she said EMDR therapy is meant to replace the negative emotions and thoughts associated with trauma, because we carry negative thoughts with that. We blame ourselves. We make up lies to get through it. Something. Usually we lie to ourselves, I don't know. Sorry, I'm sniffly. This is stupid. But yeah, if anyone watching this later has information on their own therapy that they've gone through, with this type of therapy or with any other kind that's meant for extreme trauma work. And she said in the beginning, she said, wow, you have a lot of things that we've talked about. How are you still going? And she said that, and I wanted to laugh at her. Like, that was my reaction, because I don't feel like it was that bad. And I still don't feel like it was that bad. Compared to other people that have gone through really serious shit. Even my own children, the stuff that they've gone through at the hands of me, at the hands of, my mom and their dad. Like, I feel like what I've gone through is shit. Like, it's nothing. And maybe that's that old voice in my head saying, just carry on and get over it. It's fine. It's life. So yeah, her saying that kind of like caught me off guard. Like, I guess I feel like I don't deserve sympathy. Like, I don't deserve it, especially not from my counselor. And I know that's wrong, but that's like a big defense. There's a lot of cigarette butts out this window. Like, I know people sit here and look at the lake, but they don't have to throw their butts out. Whatever. I guess I used to be one of those people. I used to smoke. It's been like 6 years. Excuse me. I do vape, and I like legal marijuana or whatever, not nicotine, and I use gummies too. The kind that you can get from the store, the vape shop, right? That's legal for your state. Even though I guess Ohio is legal to smoke full out pot now, I don't understand the rules, so I'm not even going to mess with that. I like the vapes I use and the gummies I use because it can take the edge off of the anxiety in my life or the sadness, and like help me to get through things like going to appointments, going shopping, cleaning my house, fixating on some project, right? Like, it helps me to be like, put on my tunes and I go ahead and do it, and that's nice. I like that. And the only part I struggle with my vape is late at night because I want to go to sleep and I vape, and I think I vape too much. Like, I'm using it as a escape, and then I end up getting up like too hyper. And different vapes are for different things, and I don't follow that anymore, and that's not a good thing. Because if I'm trying to relax, I definitely don't want to do a sativa. I don't even know how to say the word. Usually those give you energy. Indica is better for relaxing. So, but yeah, I've definitely been using that as an escape at night, and I don't like that. That needs to improve. Also, when I vape or do gummies, I feel creative. I feel more creative, more able to tap into that and actually enjoy being creative. So I do like it for that. So when you see me making lots of videos, I'm on a roll. Yeah, I'm on a roll. But I like to use my YouTube. I like to make content because it makes me feel better. It makes me feel connected to somebody, and I really enjoy it, and I like to think about making new things, and I love following people and like kind of figuring out their own path, like their own paths in life. So it's interesting, and I like it more than Facebook. Facebook for me became like a way to spy on people, like people in town or your friends, right? And it's just kind of like being nosy in their lives. And I don't need that. I don't need it because, if you find negative stuff, then you're like immersed in it. And I ended up deleting Facebook last year. I just got rid of it completely. And Instagram, got rid of that too. And that happened after my family's falling apart, with my mom and my sister. I miss them, of course. But I have to grow. And in order to grow, I have to be away from them. And that's the reality of it. I can't finish my journey with them shadowing over me. And they thought they were being helpful, and it's not like they weren't. My family has helped me so many times in my life. but they were just trying to keep me stable, or as stable as I could be, in whatever ways they thought worked. And those ways don't work. And me realizing those ways don't work, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, if they can accept it and say, yeah, you're right, I see what you're saying, go forth on your journey. I don't know if they can accept that. So far, they hadn't. You know, when we had our falling out, they hadn't accepted it. In fact, they told me my little family was crazy and not to talk to them anymore. That's what my mom said. So what am I going to do with that? Fine, fuck you. I won't talk to you anymore. Like, part of what I struggle with too is the fact that Lydia, my daughter, she's 19. She's tried to kill herself 4 times. It took her 4 times of almost dying for me to say, I'm not going to be your problem, honey. I'm going to be your helper. I'm going to be your ally. I'm going to stand here for you. I'm going to be strong for you, because I never was before, but here I am. 4 times. And my family still would look at that and say, oh yeah, she's just being a brat. Oh yeah, she's just being a teenager. That's what they do. So dramatic. So dramatic. And that's not right, you know. That's the voice I heard when my daughter was going through her complete mental breakdown. Was, yeah, it's whatever. It's life. Life sucks and then you die. I grew up hearing that. Life sucks and then you die. What child wants to hear that? Right? And mom had many mantras like that. Jack had them too. It's my stepdad. So we heard that shit all the time. And even from her whole extended family. It really wasn't Jack's family. Grandma and Grandpa Dews, they didn't talk really much about anything like that. If we saw them, they would come for school functions, family stuff, you know, and we get to sit and visit with them and talk. But it was never about that depressing shit. The Boleskis were always about, you know, hardships, life is hard, and you just carry on. You just keep going. You don't have time to deal with this and that. You got shit to do. And you better do your shit, or it's all going to fall apart. So there you go. And I never dealt with a lot of things. I never, ever did. And then I went out into the world on my own. What? Expecting it to be good? Expecting it to be great? No, I was just free. I was happy to be out of that house. But I had no plan. And like Rita said today, you know, you struggle with no plans. And I do. I'm aimless, right? And she said, I don't really have a sense of myself, who I am. And that's true. I do what other people expect of me. I do what other people tell me to do. And when I became a mom, my focus became being a mom. And that was it. There was no game plan. There was no like, oh, what do we do in 5 years, 10 years? None of that. It was just, you're just a mom. Just be the best mom that you can be, because everyone's watching you and everyone's trying to see if you're being a good mom or not. So you better be good. And I remember when Lydia was young and I lived with mom and Jack, she was about 1.5 years when I moved out and I got my first apartment. And, well, my first apartment as a mom, right? And, yeah, they didn't trust that I was a good mom at all. From the get-go. I was watched like a hawk. I was not allowed to interact with my kid unless it was the way that they said, especially my mom. And then there was things that I did that my stepdad was like, he went to my mom and was just like, she's neglecting her. Like, this is not acceptable. That kind of stuff. And then mom would talk to me and be like, what are you doing? Like, This is not good behavior, you know, and I would have to defend myself. Be like, listen, I am exhausted. Yes, I left her sleep in the swing so I could rest. Well, she was alone. Okay? You know, there are babies that have their own bedrooms, right? Like that don't sleep with their parents. Like, that's a thing. And they sleep alone. You know, if I have a monitor there to pick up any crying or anything, I should be able to leave. And so, like, that was a big fight. I remember that. And I felt so shameful as a person. Like, I did something completely wrong. And Jack made it like I wanted to just go upstairs and sleep with my boyfriend because I was with Daryl. That's Sammy's dad. You know, this is way before Sam was ever in our lives. And you know, we were young parents living at my house. He wasn't living there, but he would come on like a Friday night and maybe spend the night after work, you know, and then be there with us, like me and Lydia. And then like he would maybe work on the weekends, or he would go to he had his own little house in town. But like, we tried to play it by Mom and Jack's rules, which their rules were like, you know, you don't sleep together, you don't even think about doing that shit under our house. And then I was raising a kid. So Jack made it about like I was just upstairs getting my jollies off with Daryl. And I'm like, no, I'm freaking tired. Like, Lydia she couldn't sleep for anything. Her like first year of life, yeah, I would say the first year and a half, she had chronic ear infections. She had, which we didn't know about. Like, I didn't know. Like, her life was started out really rough with her birth, right? She was in the NICU for a week because when I delivered, I had a kidney infection, and she had to be taken by C-section immediately. And when she came out, she was gray. She wasn't breathing. And it was scary. It was traumatic. And they kept her for a week because they didn't know if she was going to be sick too, because my infection level in my blood was so high. And so it was just a very traumatic thing for the whole family, right? And me being a young mom, I did not bond with her. I didn't bond with her for months. Like, I didn't feel like she was my child. And I felt so wrong. I felt like something was wrong with me, you know, because I just didn't feel this magical, oh my God, I had a baby and my whole life is wonderful. I was so stressed out. I was so stressed. And I lived with Mom and Jack, and they helped, you know, but Mom's the one that pushed me to get a job. You know, she's like, okay, well, I think it's time you get a job. We can help take care of Lydia while you go and work. And so I did. I got a job at the video store, and, you know, I was able to go and work, but that meant I left Lydia with them. And they had a lot of time with her, a lot of time that I should have had being a mother, you know, to figure out how to be a mom. And I didn't. And then to be criticized for what I was doing because it wasn't what they were doing, that stress was just terrible. Like, I had no sense of what it was to be a mom, and it just wasn't allowed. And so I know that they helped me in that sense. Like, I had a roof over my head, I had food, I had a place for me and my child, you know, like we had our own room. But in the same sense, it was, you know, it's a bitter-edged sword, right? Like, it came with a price. And that is true. Every time that I've been helped by them, specifically Mom, because she's the one, you know, I don't feel like Jack has these thoughts on his own. I don't feel like he sits there and thinks, oh, these kids are using us. These kids, they only call us when they need something, and they don't love us. These kids don't love us for shit. That's my mom. That's what she thinks, and that's what she projects out into the world, and she feeds it right into his head. So I don't think he has these thoughts on himself. I think it's her. And, you know, like, I've watched them as my kids grew up, you know, as my kids had more time for themselves, Those are the things that I would hear from mom. Oh, you only call us when you need something. What do you want? Don't have time for us. Like, it's not okay to have a life. It's not okay. You have to make your life about your mom for the rest of your fucking life. And if you don't, that means that you don't love her and you never did. And then I go and try to be a parent. What do I do? What do I start showing my kids? My own insecurities as a human being, right? The fact that I have no self-esteem, I have no sense of ego, or I don't even know. I don't understand ego, id, and whatever, but Lydia does. But basically, my ego is very fragile. I get hurt very easily. I take things offensively very fast. And that is due to the way I was raised. That is due to what my mother projected onto me from her own sense of self. And no matter how much I say, I'm not going to be like my mom. I'm not going to be like my mom. I'm not going to grow up and hit my children. I'm not going to grow up and scream in their face and tell them that they're stupid. I'm not going to grow up and tell them that they're worthless pieces of shit. I'm not going to do that. What happened? Whenever I got stressed or pushed to the max, what happened? Exactly the same thing that happened with my mom. I found a child that I could make the scapegoat and blame all my problems on and talk to anyone who would listen about, because she was so disagreeable and so dysfunctional and so like loud and, everything. Disruptive. You tell her to do this, she does that. You tell her to do this, she just breaks down and cries. Like, I did not know what to do with that. I had no skills to even handle that in myself, right? So that's when I started getting negative and really showing these traits of my childhood, and what I saw was when those stressful times as a mom. I love my children. I know that I love them. I know that I want the best for them. But I also know that I have hurt them so deeply. And it's so different for me because my mom would never sit here and say that. So I don't know what to do with that. I don't know what to do with the fact that I know that I've shown abusive, monstrous behavior to them. And I'm sorry for it. And I'm actively changing myself. And I'm actively tackling these horrible things, these demons that have attached themselves to me, right? For so long, because I believe that's what it is. It is demons. They hurt you. They feed off of you. They find you. And then they're like with you. And I think that happens anytime. It can happen when you're a child. When bad things happen, they get in. Because we're not born like this. We're not born fucked up. We're not born not trusting people. We're not born thinking that the world's out to get us. That's shown to us. And, if something dark attaches to you, it clouds you. It clouds what you think. I need to reach out to God more than what I do. Because whenever I think about God, I don't have that terror feeling. I actually feel calm. Like there, I just felt instantly calm. Because God does not hurt. God does not cause pain, trauma, hatred, any of that. God doesn't do that. And you have people that argue like the Old Testament and the New Testament, and the old God was, he was so evil. And yeah, but the God that I know and the God that I trust does not promote violence in any way. Do I have a fear of God? Yes. And I do believe you should have a fear of God. And that fear being not like, I'm afraid of what he's going to do to me if I sin. It's the fear of the awe of him. If God was right in front of you, would you be able to look upon his face? No, you would cower in fear. You would cower in fear. And that is just the ultimate respect, right? Like, I am not worthy to look at your face. You are my maker. It's a beautiful thing. I encourage people to reach out to their faith, whatever God you believe in, too. It's very interesting the way the world, we have religion, and they're similar in different aspects, the stories and the things like that. And there's a reason for that. And we spend our time trying to prove yes God or no God, instead of embracing it and being like, there is something. Yes. Am I going to reach out to it, connect to it? Yes. The fact that you can be in nature and connect with nature instantly, does that not prove anything to you about your existence, about your connection to this earth, to humanity, to the, everything? That is the proof that you need. Not like some written, shown photographer picture of God in the sky. You just have to calm and feel it. I feel really good right now. Excuse me. What is that? Sorry, somebody's over there. Don't trust them. This is a hot macchiato from Dunkin', if anyone cares. This is my commercial break. A hot macchiato from Dunkin' with a churro flavor. So good. That was my treat to myself for this shit. Excuse me. It's a lot to think about. But Rita told me I could talk to her. I could text her she said if I felt like I was going sideways. So I guess if I'm panicking. I can't see that happening, just because I don't really like to lose control like that. Like, even in her office, I was holding back my crying. Because, I watch other people in their trauma videos. Someone in particular, right? He's been going through a lot. His marriage just ended, but he mentioned on one of his videos how he was crying like a baby, crying like a small child, and it shocked him. And he hasn't heard those sounds, like, he has no memory of them, right? And my heart went out to him because I understood exactly what he meant. And the crying like that, it's therapeutic. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. And it has to happen. And I've cried so much for the past 2 years? The past year. Last year was an awful year for our family. And the tears that I have shed and the just sobbing that has come out of me at different times. It's necessary. It literally is like a poison. And it attaches to you. And it rules you, and it runs you, and it runs your life. And you don't even realize it. You just keep going. Because life doesn't stop. You gotta have a job. You've gotta bring in money because you have things to take care of. If you have kids, you've got to raise them. And if you're not okay and you're raising people, what are you doing? You're just taking from yourself to give to other people, and you're hoping that it's enough. It's not enough, and it never was enough. And then you feel guilty for it and beat yourself up for years about it. And I know that my mom, she does say, oh my God, I'm sorry I was such a bad mom. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know I screwed you guys up. And she says it like that. And we've always been like, oh no, Mom, it's fine. Mom, it's okay. You're amazing. You're a great mom. You've done great. Like, it's amazing. You can't help that you and Dad got divorced. Like, we would always defend it. We would always, that was weird. That's what a child does, is they defend their parent, right? They defend the person that they love because they don't know ultimately that other people don't do that. The thoughts never cross their mind that somebody, you know, Billy's mom down the street doesn't yell in their face and tell them that they're stupid and tell them that they're lazy. You know, Billy's mom doesn't nitpick every single thing that they do and say, no, you could have done it better. That type of shit. Billy's mom doesn't shame them for lying or breaking something or making a mistake. And you don't know that because this is what you know. This is your mom or this is your dad. And it's when you get out in the world and you start to talk to other people and hear their experiences that you realize, oh, that's different than what I went through, or that's not what I felt. Or you see someone real close to their mom and you wonder how that feels, you know, to be that accepted, to just go out and have fun, not to be hanging out because you're expected to, because that's what you do as a child. You cater to your parent. So she would say that. She would say, oh my gosh, I failed you. I'm just a failure. I'm a failure. And then we would feel sorry for her. And I know now that that's something I never want to say to my kids. Because that makes me feel bad. As a child, that makes me feel like I did something wrong. When my mom says she's a failure and the woe is me card, I feel like it's my fault. You know, like, what can I do to make her feel better? And that's not right. You can apologize for being a shit parent, but you don't need to make your kid feel bad for you being a shit parent. That's the responsible way. And you can say sorry, but you have to change. Because saying sorry for screaming in your sister's face is one thing, but actually making the effort to not do it again is another thing. And kids will accept empty promises and empty apologies until they don't anymore, right? But in doing that, you're not helping your kid, because you're giving them that same thing. You're giving them that same problem of empty promises, letting people down, not doing what you say you're doing, so you have no conviction. And what image are you giving them? So you have to make yourself a better person in whatever way you can. And for me, that's therapy. And I wish I would have been in it a long time ago and actually went into things like I am now. Yeah, I wish that. But I can't change it. I can only change what I'm doing now, here today and tomorrow and the rest of my life. And I can figure out who I am as a person, who I want to be, and have convictions and have standards and have lines and boundaries that I do not cross because they do not align with who I am as a person. So it's just getting there. All right, I have gone on an awful lot. I guess I'm posting this. It doesn't give me the option not to, so. Here's the pretty lake again. I feel like going out there and sitting. You want to come with me? Let's take a sip of coffee. You know, the only way that this shit is going to stop is if people talk about it. You know? If people actually talk about it. Instead of burying it. Instead of putting it under a freaking bushel and saying, just don't worry about it. Bear with me. Yes, the bench is wet, but I don't care. Hopefully the wind isn't too bad. The rain has finally stopped. It's pretty. Well, if anyone's watched this far, thank you so much for being with me. We all have our own journeys. We can be there for each other in whatever way. Alone. You can't be safe. Be loved. You can make your life so special. Just to you. To your children. Life isn't meant to be so hard that you can't cope. Life isn't meant to take your life. Life is meant to spread joy, positivity, happiness, love. It's beautiful here. I might walk that path. I don't know how to stop this. Alright, thank you guys for being here. Have a great day.